So my first question is this: is there enough? Is there enough? When you look around the world, do you see an abundant, plentiful, beautiful, remarkable, rich gift to us? Or do you see a scary place, a kind of scarce place? A place where there's just not enough, where we're actually battling it out for resources, we're battling it out for space, that actually this is a zero-sum game. As somebody else gains, we lose. How do we see this? Now, I've spent the last 24 years of my life working in what everybody would call the scarcest places on earth. I don't come into this naively. But I think it's a key thing. I believe 100%. The world is abundant and rich and full. In fact, it is that way even in the places that we think are most scarce. And yet the story that we're getting told everywhere is there's not enough. We need to shut up, be behind walls, close out. There's just not enough space. What do you think? What's your answer to that question? I once spent some time with the migrants. If you remember the big news story about the migrant caravan that was coming up through Latin America, and they were all gathered in Tijuana in a football stadium. It was a big political issue in the US. And I went down there and I sat with the migrants to hear about their journey. And I was talking to two Honduran young men in their late 20s, I'm guessing. And we were talking, and I was talking about the journey. And then one of them said, "Can I ask you a question?" And I said, "Of course." And he said, "Is it true that America has sent an army to stop us?" Now, that was the time where, sure enough, there was an army, a brigade had been sent down to the border to stop the migrants. Just not in Tijuana, it was somewhere else. So I said, "Well, they're not in Tijuana, but yes, there is an army come down to stop migrants moving in." He looked sort of stunned and bewildered. And he said, we are just little people. We just want a small piece of earth to make a life in. And I thought about that. It really hit me hard. Surely that's the most basic human right. And as Christians, surely we believe that if God created these people and put them on the earth, then they, at a minimum, should be given a small piece of land in which to make a life and a family and a life of meaning and purpose. Isn't that the most basic thing you can ask for? And yet so much of what we're hearing around the world right now is there is not enough. What do you think? If you believe the world is small and that there's not enough, guess what? The world becomes small and there's not enough. But if you think the world is abundant and rich and that there's plenty and that there is enough, guess what? There suddenly becomes enough. And I say that from sitting in a refugee camp where I've seen it happen.